Thus he taught him, saying, My son, hear my words, and follow my advice, and remember what I say. If you hear a word, let it die in your heart, and reveal it not to another, lest it become a live coal and burn your tongue, and cause a pain in your body, and you bring reproach on yourself, and you are shamed before God and man. If you cannot keep a secret, you will never be trusted. My son, if you have heard a report, spread it not. And if you have seen something, tell it not. Do not gossip. My son, make your eloquence easy to the listener, and be not hasty to return an answer. Do not pontificate or be a know-it-all. My son, when you have heard anything, hide it not. Do not keep secrets. My son, loose not a sealed knot, nor untie it, and seal not a loosened knot. A wax seal was placed over a knot that tied a box or document closed to show that it was meant to be opened only by a particular person. My son, covet not outward beauty, for it wanes and passes over, but an honorable remembrance lasts forever. Beauty fades, integrity remains. My son, let not a silly, foolish woman deceive you with her speech, lest you die the most miserable of deaths, and she entangle you in the net until you are trapped. My son, desire not a woman decorated with gaudy dress and ointments, who is despicable and silly, foolish in her soul. Woe to you if you bestow on her anything that is yours, or promise her what is in your hand, and she entice you into sin, and God be angry with you. My son, be not like the almond tree, for it brings forth leaves before all the trees, and edible fruit after them all. But be like a mulberry tree, which brings forth edible fruit before all the trees, and leaves after them all. The word for almond tree is the same word for haste. My son, bend your head down low and soften your voice, and be courteous and walk in the straight path, and be not foolish, and raise not your voice when you laugh. For if it were a loud voice that a house was built, the ass would build many houses every day. And if it were by means of strength that the plow were driven, the plow would never be removed from under the shoulders of the camels. Do not be loud, showy, or a braggart. Be solemn, humble, and courteous. Don't be a donkey. My son, the removing of stones with a wise man is better than the drinking of wine with a sorry man. Better to work with the wise than play with the fools. My son, pour out your wine on the tombs of the just, and drink not with ignorant, contemptible people. Honor the righteous, even if they are dead, but stay away from the ignorant, even if they are the only people around. My son, stay close, hold on to wise men who fear God, and be like them, and go not near the ignorant, or you will become like him and learn his ways. My son, when you think you have found a comrade or a friend, test him, and afterwards make him a comrade and a friend. And do not praise him without a trial, and do not waste your speech on a man who lacks wisdom. My son, while a shoe stays on your foot, walk with it on the thorns, and make a road for your son and for your household and your children, and make your ship taut before she goes on the sea, and its waves, and sinks, and cannot be saved. Prepare yourself before you venture out, and as you go, forge a path for your people. My son, if the rich man eats a snake, they say, it is by his wisdom, and if a poor man eats it, the people say, it is from his hunger. My son, be content with your daily bread and your goods, and covet not what is another's. Do not be envious. My son, be not neighbor to the fool, and eat not bread with him, and rejoice not in the misfortune of your neighbors. If your enemy wrongs you, show him kindness. My son, respect and honor a man who fears God. My son, the ignorant man falls and stumbles, and the wise man, even in his stumbles, he is not shaken. Even if he falls, he gets up quickly, and if he is sick, he can take care of his life. But as for the ignorant, stupid man, for his desire there is no drug. My son, if a man approach you who is inferior, of lower status to yourself, go forward to meet him and remain standing. And if he cannot pay you back, his Lord will recompense you for him. My son, do not spare your son from a beating, for the thrashing of your son is like manure to the garden, and like tying the mouth of a purse, and like the tethering of beasts, and like the bolting of the door. My son, keep your son from wickedness, and teach him manners before he rebels against you, and brings you into contempt among the people, and you hang your head in shame in the streets and the assemblies, and you be punished for the evil of his wicked deeds. My son, get you a fat ox with a foreskin, and an ass great with its hoofs, and get not an ox with large horns, nor make friends with a tricky man, nor get a quarrelsome slave, nor a thievish handmaid, for everything which you commit to them they will ruin. Choose utility and not looks. Choose only those who you can trust. My son, let not your parents curse you, and the Lord be pleased with them. For it has been said, he who despises his father or his mother, let him die the death of sin. And he who honors his parents shall prolong his days and his life, and shall see all that is good. My son, walk not on the road without weapons, for you know not when the foe may meet you, so that you may be ready for him. Be prepared to defend yourself. My son, be not like a bare, leafless tree that does not grow, but be like a tree covered with its leaves and its boughs. For the man who has neither wife nor children is disgraced in the world and is hated by them, like a leafless and fruitless tree. Marry, have children, produce good things in the world. My son, be like a fruitful tree on the roadside, whose fruit is eaten by all who pass by, and the beasts of the desert rest under its shade and eat of its leaves. My son, every sheep that wanders from its path and its companions becomes food for the wolf. My son, say not, my Lord is a fool, and I am wise. And do not repeat words of ignorance and folly, or you will be despised by man.